Hello, this is my fan mail to you for the month of May. May is just now ending. It always takes, every time I do one of these videos, it takes me a millisecond. Well, no. I'd say like almost a third of a second to think of what month it is. But that's what these are. This is my fan mail. I'd like to do a video diary, basically about one aspect of Easy Allies that I've been thinking about working on, thinking about doing going forward. Just basically where I'm at with Easy Allies on any given month. And for this month of May, I wanted to talk about And For That Reason, which you'll see soon, and maybe a little bit of betting special if I'm not super long-winded about And For That Reason. Last month I talked about the planning for And For That Reason. Basically, it was very much tied in with all of our new initiatives going forward from April, from our big live stream fundraising thing. But I kind of want to talk about how the production of it went down, because it was interesting. It's not like any other Easy Allies show we've done before. Closest thing I could relate it to is Tabletop Escapades, because we don't anymore. We used to shoot them in bulk, 3 or 4 episodes at a time. We shot all 6 episodes of And For That Reason in one day, which was cool. So we used Ian's camera. You may have seen this camera. It's an A7, but it's like a fancy one, A7S maybe. Mine for Bogspeak is just A7 regular. So yeah, I don't know. Ian has the nicest, newest one. We used that for And For That Reason. And by the way, I realize it kind of stinks that I'm going to be talking a lot about a show that you can't possibly see yet. Maybe this all makes sense in the future. We're gonna debut it the Thursday of E3, so basically after we've done all our impressions, the last day of E3, as we're about to say goodbye, we're gonna premiere the first episode to everybody, and then it will only be able to be seen through Patreon, and then every other episode exclusive to $1 and up patrons until 6 months have passed, and then episode 1 will go live, and a week later episode 2 will go live. And so basically this is the plan right now. It's not public. This is just me and Joan spitballing. Basically there's a 6-month window of exclusivity on those videos. If you're strongly opposed to it, let us know. Hey, you have my email address now. Cool. So anyway, And For That Reason, the hardest one, I would think maybe the hardest thing for me doing this was choosing the videos. Basically, I made a post, hey, send us videos, send us your ideas for And For That Reason, your video game ideas. And it's tricky because a lot of people sent in good ideas for video games. You know, like, I actually want to make this game. I actually think these ideas are good and interesting, and some of them are. But that's completely against the concept of the show, in which we need bad ideas for video games. It's the only way the show works. If we're making fun of good ideas for video games, we turn into galactic a-holes, you know? What was funny about that, and it's something that, like, it's why we haven't really taken fan designs for shirts or anything, is like this legal barrier of, hey, if they give us things and we use it in a video that we're basically monetizing because it's in this $1 tier in this particular instance, how is that legal? Like, how is it legal for us to use that video? So basically I went online and I found a release form for content. I think it was called the content release form, basically a blank template. And I sent that to Hogue. Rick Hogue, if you're not familiar, is a sponsor of Easy Allies, the podcast, but also talks to us all the time and helps us out with a lot of things. Sent it to him, and he's like, hey, this is much too formal. I didn't realize release forms work this way. And also he's like, you don't technically need the signature at the end of it. If they're submitting to you, they're actively choosing to submit to you. It's not like you're grabbing it off their YouTube channels. So he like removed some barriers of making that less complicated and helped me nail down that legal language in like a way that was less intimidating than it was before. So I was very grateful for that. Yeah, I made the post. I tried to make it clear what kind of videos we want, what kind of ideas we want, you know, just that we want silly bad stuff, you know. I tried to make that very clear in the post, but yeah, as always, I mean, people just have good ideas that they want to submit. And so, yeah, it was a lot of pressure when I was first loading up, and I didn't watch any of them, I think, until a day or two before we were about to shoot. And we delayed the shoot. It was going to be early May, but we wanted to get more equipment in before we started. Okay, so it's, oh yeah, the what does Ian call it? The Ghibli? the they used to call it jib when it was like this thing, but whatever he uses to keep the camera steady with a little handle on it. Gimbal. It's called a gimbal. I got there. Anyway, we had to wait for the gimbal to come in. But so I'm looking through these videos, you know, and it's stressful for me. I want them to be good. I want them to be very funny. I want them to make me giggle as I go through them. And it's that fear of like, will I have enough good ones? Will I have enough that make me giggle? But it's also that fear of, man, somebody worked really hard on this. I can't believe I'm not picking this. Like, some were just visually very interesting. Some were legitimately funny. And some were just like, you could tell the person really worked hard on this and really cared about it. And yeah, it just sucks. It sucks to have to dismiss good ideas, right? But we locked in 6 episodes. I was very certain about that. And then sort of, I mean, it's one of like it's like being a producer, all right? It's I don't mind doing it too much because it's something that I'll just have to do more and more in my lifetime. Is I had to write the email that said, hey, we're not using your video, thank you for submitting it, kind of giving them a little bit of an idea of what kind of videos I wanted into the show, and then end it with some sort of self-deprecating thing where it's just like, I know I'm not a big shot, and I know this, like, look, this was not like an opportunity for you to make it big, like, this is just a stupid show we're putting together, you know, that kind of thing, soften the blow. But yeah, I had to send that email out the day after we shot, and then I also sent one to the people who made it in, just like, hey, thanks. Congratulations. Look forward to it, you know, in June and thereafter. When we were setting up, I think this is a point where I failed. Yeah, on this, when I make these videos, I'll talk about stuff I failed on too. I think I failed on properly communicating the intended tone of And For That Reason. Again, this will make much more sense when you see it. The way I conceptualize the show is 4 or 5 of us taking a really dumb idea seriously. We take it very, very seriously. Without giving too much away, I'll just say, like, we end up playing characters. I wanted us to be ourselves, and it quickly turned into all of us playing character versions of ourselves, which is fine. Yeah, but like I had like 2 rules coming in. One of the rules was the improv rule is like, don't take down anybody's idea. If somebody builds something onto this discussion, don't take it away. An example I gave was, let's say somebody pitched a juggling game, right? And if someone says, well, if this is a juggling game, I assume we're monkeys. So basically from then on, and by the way, nobody submitted a juggling game, we all have to accept that we're a monkey in this video game, right? Nobody's like, no, I don't think we're monkeys, I think we're this. You know, that just destroys the show. But I think maybe in that particular example, I gave everyone the freedom to go a little nuts. And so that's what I would change. But I mean, in a weird way, you'll see this by the time we get to the end of the series, it becomes its own wild thing. And, you know, that's what collaboration's about. It can't just be my show that I'm the director of, because we're Easy Allies, right? We're a group. It becomes its own thing. It becomes something entirely different from what I imagined it to be, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it'll turn out bad for that reason. That wasn't a pun. When I added For That Reason, it was just, I think it might be bad for other reasons, is why I emphasized For That Reason at the end there. We don't do puns on these. These are unedited. These are raw. I'm not trying to make you laugh. I'm simply trying to talk about the things that I thought were interesting this month. Omar from Funhouse shot everything. The plan was originally to have Ian and Don switch off per episode, so have some that are Don on the panel. Don could not make it that weekend. And so, yeah, Omar called in. Ian and Omar are roommates. They used to work together back at Game Trailers. Omar's really cool and was just down to shoot that day, which is honestly really, really cool. Like, we didn't pay him. He was just down to do it, which is the nicest thing anybody could ever do for you, really. Just, I'll give you a day. I'll give you a day of my time to hold a camera. Really, really cool. And so it was fun to have somebody completely dedicated to that, to be honest. And that, you know, a lot of the stuff we do at Easy Allies is rotate it through. We're all in front of the camera as much as we are behind the camera. Maybe Damiani is an exception. But yeah, it was cool just to have somebody very dedicated to watching us the whole time, getting shots. Here's another inside thing. The gimbal was not functioning correctly for episode 1. Episode 1 is a little janky. And I think I'll have to. Maybe we'll get comments about it, maybe we won't. But yeah, I want to cushion that blow as much as possible. It was just like jerky, right? And then between episode 1 and 2, we're like, hey, we should fix that. And then it's like a really nice and smooth, giving us pretty cool camera movements. So that was cool. The night before, as I was really narrowing down the videos, and you know, there were 6 episodes. I narrowed it down to 7. There were 2 I was juggling between up until the morning of, and it was basically just a discussion I was having with Jones about the discussions we could have based off the game. And I'm like, I really think this one will work better than that one. It was tough, really, really tough. Because in its here's a funny thing I didn't bring up. Basically, when I wrote the post that says, please send us your ideas, I said, hey, you don't need to have drawings. You don't need to have gameplay or anything. It could just be you talking. The thing is, 5 out of 6 are not that. Like, basically, any video that is visually interesting has such a leg up on any of the other ones. And so I wanted to include at least one where it is just somebody talking to the camera. And so basically, if there is a season 2, I hope there is, I will say, like, hey, it helps to have visuals. Obviously, I see that now. This is a visual medium, and so people want to see those things more than just a head talking this whole time. Like you right now. Are you still watching me, or are you checking your phone? Like, how do I know? It's okay if you're checking your phone, by the way. Oh, anyway, that night before, I was up late selecting videos, trying to narrow those down, writing out basically the intro, the opening sequence, things like that, anything that needed to be scripted out. You know what, I'll save some of that. Some of that doesn't need to be said, and surprises. We got surprises in there. But picking out the music was actually pretty fun. So I tried to make a theme song. I might actually like tweet it out at some point. I tried to write a theme song, kind of like I did for Spoiler Mode. I actually like the Spoiler Mode theme song. I tried to make one for it, and for that reason, it just wasn't the right tone. I didn't have a clear idea of what it should be, and then the thing I ended up making sounds like a sinister hip hop song. And so I said to myself, like, I just got to pick a song from Epidemic Music, which is the library we use. We use 2. We use 3 actually. We use the free one from Google. Artlist is another one we use, and Epidemic, and those 2, Epidemic and Artlist, are the 2 I use for Box Peak. Primarily Epidemic. I like that one a lot. Not as good as Killer Tracks, which we had at Game Trailers in the later days, and definitely not as good as, what was the other one? I forget. The one we had back in Viacom days was just so good. That was a really good music library. I forget the name of it. Anyway, I don't think I ever revealed this. When I was first planning Box Peak, I called Killer Tracks, and I said, how much would it be to basically license your songs for 10 episodes of a web series? And they were like, $9,000? And it's like, to them, that's not that much. You know what I mean? Oh, it's like, it's digital, it's 10 minutes long, $9,000. And to me, that's like, oh, I'm asking for 2 to make this. I simply couldn't spend $9,000 on Box Peak music as much as I wanted to. Would have been pretty cool. Anyway, we still have good stuff in there, right? So I had to pick the theme song, which took a long time, and I had to pick, like, reality show music, and that is actually very easy. It's kind of hard to find music you genuinely like on a music library, but it's very easy to find generic music that sounds just like a reality show, and stings, and just like, and like happy music. This is when I was listening to those things, I was like, oh, this is gonna work. I think the show is gonna work if we get the right shots and everything like that. I like picking out music. It's a fun thing for me. Shooting the opening sequence, I won't say too much about that, but I like doing that a lot too. I like creating these shows and giving them their own identities, because, you know, we shoot everything in that garage, almost everything. Huber Syndrome not, but you know, I like to give the shows identities when we can, you know, because it's not easy. It's not easy to give them their own vibes and things, because it's all in the same spot, same cameras, same people. Same t-shirts most of the time. So yeah, any opportunity to differentiate the shows, I'll take it. And I will say, it was funny. I mean, with the music selection, a lot of it was, how do I make this not a parody of Shark Tank? which was there all along, and I had to actually like remove the word Shark Tank from my post asking for pitches, because I don't want it to be a parody of Shark Tank, right? Because then basically the whole point of the show has to be making fun of Shark Tank, making a commentary on Shark Tank, when really I wanted to use that formula to explore video game ideas. And so it's not a parody, it's theft. It's stealing a formula, and for that reason, that one's a pun. It's not a pun, it's a callback. Anyway, because of that, I wanted to sorry, I lost my train of thought because I accidentally fell into it for that reason. Because of that, I wanted to make everything as different as possible. I didn't want people to think like, are they trying to do Shark Tank? It's like, no. You'll see, though, we fall into Shark Tank more than I ever expected to. Editing, Ian did all of the editing. Ian did all of the editing pretty quickly, and this was a cool thing because, like with betting specials, Ian will edit those, but it's basically done. You know what I mean? Here's the export, and you watch through it. It's like, oh, it's great. With these, I got to be more hands-on with notes, you know. We didn't have an episode of this before. One thing I would say about Ian's edits is that they can be long. They can just include lots of things. I think Ian likes that, just like the awkward moments in between the entire story. I hate things like that. I like to cut things as much as possible. In this kind of instance, when I'm trying to make 6-minute episodes. And so I think it was kind of shocking to Ian when I sent notes back where I'm just like, this wasn't funny, cut it. This is too long, cut it. Cut this, we don't need this. This wasn't a good point, not a good argument. This was awkward, cut it. And then from then on, Ian kind of understood how much I wanted to cut these things down. And that worked really well. It just basically, it's kind of fun. I wish we were in the same room, but seeing some of the funny ideas Ian has and then saying like, oh, that would be funny here too, and then Ian putting it there too, and it turns out even funnier, and it's like just writing back and forth. It's kind of, you're building long distance in a way, and that was a kind of fun process. They're all edited now. They're all done way ahead of time, way ahead of Premiere. That's a good feeling for us. So that's pretty exciting. Titles, I just did titles this week. I totally forgot. I was like, oh, I gotta write titles, and we'll probably deal with thumbnails later. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the premiere. I hope people like it. I think they will. I think they will like the version that ended up sprouting out more than the version I had originally imagined, which is, it's not that different. It's not like it's a completely different show. But yeah, it's exciting that we have this thing, right? This new exclusive series. I almost wish that Busted Trifecta could have been this kind of thing, because I want to promote it hard. I want it to be like this showcase. We have a series, one at a time, 6 episodes per thing, and that's a big deal for Easy Allies. This is what you get for your $1. I want it to be that kind of thing, and I want to promote it hard, and I hope it's the right thing to premiere with that. You know, we have ideas. We have more ideas for short run series. And so, yeah, I hope this little thing works out. We'll be paying close attention. You know what I mean? We don't know what is next. We've not locked that in yet. And it might depend on the reaction, too. And for that reason, it might not. We'll see. We'll see. Cool. Oh, I guess that's it. That's all I have to say about And For That Reason of May. Yeah, that's what you're all caught up to where we are. And so, what, we're at 18 minutes? Yeah, I can talk a little bit about the betting special. Not too much, again, because this we haven't even shot yet, right? Basically, these are fun. For me, I love, like, it's comedic. It's like comedic game design in a way. I don't think people always, I think internet commenters don't always appreciate that, in that when they see the rules and us taking it so seriously, I think they might miss the step where, like, it's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be obtuse sometimes. And so I actually scaled it back on the obscurity of it, you know what I mean? This one isn't too weird in its design. I think it is still very unique. It'll be a completely different betting special from ones we've seen before, just in its format, not too much beyond that. Like, I mean, it's still bets. It's still 2 people trying to rack up points to beat each other, betting on E3. But there's a lot of new elements I'm very, very excited about. And so I wrote it up really late at night. I was in bed with a notebook because the internet was out. and just kind of like scribbled everything down, thought of things, thought of this, thought of this, thought of this. And so I sent that to Huber without really writing out all the bets, but basically a rundown of how I want the show to go, basically. And I said, basically, and this is mostly how these go, is I'll have an idea, send it to Huber, pretty fleshed out idea, and just, what do you think? I'm not attached to any of these things. Let me know if this doesn't make sense, if this is stupid, and he does. This one in particular, he just wrote back like, dude, this is genius. He's really excited about it. I know which parts to explain more based off his confusion. He's just like, what did that mean? It's like, I get, yeah. I don't always think it through from a new mind, you know what I mean? It's basically me writing it for myself a lot of the times. And so, yeah, it's always good to have fresh eyes on it. And so, yeah, Huber had said, he had said before that, like, he wants to, with the betting special of this year, create more of a game show vibe. You know, I think he's sick of making it too intense, creating tension where there is none. And we're going to try it. We'll see how it works. I have a suspicion that, again, we're going to walk in with this intention of game show vibe, nice and cool and easy, and it'll get intense by the end. But with E3 betting specials, that's good. That's good. We're shooting it on Thursday. Actually, most of the time I'm the one who's pushing to shoot it later. Huber was feeling that there are so many things dropping, so many things leaking, that as close to E3 as possible is when he wanted to shoot it. So we're shooting it Thursday, 2 days before EA's press conference, which is Saturday, right? So basically it'll probably go Friday, and then we'll just have that one day. But the thing is, people do keep watching it throughout E3. So yeah, we're not like hurting on views because we're putting it up on Friday. We are a little bit, but views aren't what matter, you know, when it comes to betting specials. They do pretty well, but they're not designed to attract a new audience, right? It's not like we do them all the time. It's not like this is what Patreon is funding. In a way it is, because it's kind of a community event, but yeah, the betting specials are much more for the Easy Allies community than they are for our YouTube subscribers or anything like that, you know. It's not the thing that attracts eyeballs, but it is the thing that makes us who we are. You know, it's a unique thing that other channels don't do. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I have some stuff to prepare. Again, without giving too much away, this was how I had this thought. I had this thought that, like, and after you hear this, you'll be disappointed with what like ends up being in the thing. But I was thinking about like school projects, you know, like in middle school and high school, and how hard I used to work on those and how good some of them were, and then how little I put into a betting special. And, you know, obviously I like don't phone them in, and I work really hard on like writing everything out, but I just mean, I guess, craft wise, creation wise, it's like, why don't I make this look nicer? Why don't I make a weird, nice thing to like put up or something like that? And so, yeah, hopefully I'll be able to create some stuff. Again, it sucks that I have Box Peak Life and this on top of it. By the way, you're in Box Peak Studios. That's why that... I don't know if it's picking up the noise. We got a whir coming on from the lights, which isn't normally a factor in Box Peak because, yeah, it's all VO. But yeah, that's where we're at. We're in Box Peak Studios right now. This is not a spoiler. This is episode 1. All right. Going back here, you little creep. All right, that's good. Yeah, that's from episode 1. And not many of the others are. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk too much about Box Peak. I'm going to be writing an update on Patreon later tonight, basically letting everybody know where I'm at the end of May. It's not where I want to be. I didn't get enough Box Peak days in this week. I didn't make the progress I wanted to this month. So that kind of, it bums me out. But, you know, it's still going along, and the things that I'm doing, the things that I'm shooting, get me pretty stoked. Sometimes you just line up a shot and you turn on the camera and you're looking at it in the monitor and you're like, oh man. Because, I mean, the way it works, the way this production works, a lot of the times I'm like, have a loose concept. You know, I do storyboards and then I just draw a thing. And then when it's time to actually shoot, which is like weeks or days later, right? Because I have to pen it and erase it and color it and then cut it out. So it's been a while since I originally drew those things. And so then I have these assets and then I have to like make the show out of them. talking about like background assets and props and things like that. Sometimes it just doesn't work. Sometimes it works better than I ever could have did imagine. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's not where I want it to be. And of course, E3 is next month. So, you know, I'm definitely stressed about that. It's not good. June is also not going to be a good BoxPeak month, I think. And so, yeah, I'm bumming about how long it's taking for sure. Or basically, our pace is 1 episode a month, which is so long. Which is what this means. That, like, I'm going to put it live at worst, like a year and a half after getting it funded. We're over a year at this point. So no, at worst, like 2 years, right? No, don't want to be 2 years. Maybe a year and a half. I want it like end of summer. I'm hoping end of summer, but I just see bad things happening constantly. I mean, this will be what the post is about. I kind of, basically, BoxPeak is about paper puppets, right? That was the first thing I had in mind, is like, I'm just going to use paper puppets. It's going to be a show with paper puppets. And so everything's got to be simple. What kind of show can you make with paper puppets? And that's why BoxPeak sprouted out, is like, oh, that's a dumb idea. It's a dumb, simple idea. And then paper doesn't affect how good or bad that comes off, because it's just boop, 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 right? Whereas Kung Fu would be like, oh, the animation sucks because they just do paper slapping against each other. What I'm saying is, it was supposed to be simple and stupid. It was supposed to be bad and rough around the edges. It still is, but I'm working too hard on some aspects of it for sure. And so I don't know. I don't know if I can get over that, or maybe this just becomes a show that I make 1 episode a month for. We'll find out. Yeah, but anyway, despite all those things, like, other shows are still happening, right? Like, we're still making the betting special, and I'm still putting everything on Canon to that, and we're still doing And for That Reason, which was a really cool thing to work on this month. I have to be honest, it was fun. It was a fun thing to do, and it makes me happy that we have 6 weeks of a cool original show lined up to go, right? It wasn't... I had to do lots of pre-production and some post-production. Ian obviously did a lot of post-production, but generally that was a 1-day shoot, and maybe you could say 1 or 2, 3 days of post and pre-production. Like, that's so efficient. And so while BoxPeak is incredibly inefficient, maybe I have more efficient series to look forward to. Anyway, that's all I have to say to you. Thank you so much for watching me, listening to me ramble for all this time. I like appreciate giving you these insights. Like, I know it's a lot of stuff I shouldn't say, but a lot of it's like, for me at the same time, it's a lot of things I don't think about until I'm in front of the camera spouting it out. So yeah, I appreciate making these. I appreciate you for your support that you give to our Patreon. It's crazy that we're doing so well. I haven't seen the returns for this month, obviously, because it always drops at the end of the month. But it is crazy to me at this point where we are now that we're, you know, breaking previous records. I don't know why. I don't know why. You know, it's cool. Most of these things, you know, fall off, and so I mean, I think it's because after maybe a year of stagnation, we said, hey, let's make our stuff look good, and here's what it will cost. And I think that's what the community reacted to. Is like, oh, okay, well, let's help them make the stuff they want to make. And yeah, obviously it's gonna be a process. We've not shot one perfect show with our new equipment yet. Everything's had something a little wrong with it. So yeah, I'm hoping it'll all be ready by E3. I'm almost positive it will be. E3 is gonna be very big. Damiani's been working really hard on it, in particular for the streaming aspect. Bloodworth has been working really hard on the floor, making sure that everybody's got good appointments. I will not say that. Basically, I won't be giving a lot of end-of-day impressions for E3, but I'll be there. I'll be there on the nights, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Cool. And so, yeah, thank you so much. See you around. Yeah, I don't know. I never know how to end these. Basically, I'm thankful to you, but it's not like see you again, because I mean, it's just luck of the draw, right? Was there a tiny moth on my glasses? That was freaky. It's because of the lights drawing them in. Yeah, just look at the draw, right? I don't know. It's like a 1 in 9 chance that I'll see you next month. But yeah, I'll see you around, right? Cool. All right. See you around, everybody. Bye.